Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, December 19, and welcome to another episode of Flossmas. I've got a couple of fun things to show you for today, and for those of you who are on dock watch, he's right over there, and my guess is he's going to be joining us pretty quickly, so hopefully it'll be one of those days. So I've got the usual stuff to show you today, and then at the end, we're going to talk about some food, so that'll be fun. In terms of the FFOs to show you, this one started with a visit to a thrift shop, and I picked up this old Bucilla kit, and this is the kind of kit that I grew up stitching, these tiny little things that you would pick up at AC Moore or the local craft shop, and they would come with just a little piece of Aida, something to frame them in, and if you were really lucky, regular 6-stranded floss, but it didn't always even come with that. I stitched a lot of these growing up because this was often what I had, and so I saw this and I really liked that little pattern. I thought it was very sweet, and I saw it and I thought, I wonder what would happen if we used nice linen, if we used some fancy floss on it, and what would that do to change this piece? So I decided to just do it as an experiment. Here we go. I told you. I said, let me just see what would happen if I did that. And so I had a very small piece of XU design linen. I had received it as a sample with another order, and I had kept it aside. I mean, it was sent as a sample, but it was a sufficient size that I said, you could stitch it small on this. So I very carefully put it with my stash. And then I also was looking through my fancy floss, and I decided that I wanted to use some Tom and Lily Creations threads. This was just before I started opening up the advent calendar. And so I went through some of the threads that I already had, and I picked out some just from Tom and Lily to use. And you'll notice that I used similar colors, but I went with a little more pink, muted down those greens just a little bit. Hi. It's like, oh, I've been waiting for this moment. I've been waiting for this moment. Yeah. You are the star. Everybody loves it when you're here, just so you know. So I decided just to go with slightly more muted colors, a little more pink and green on that one. So that was what I chose. Stitched up very quickly. I think I did it in an evening, maybe 2 evenings, because it was a very quick stitch. And so this is how I have finished it and fully finished it. And I think it's just a really sweet little pattern. Obviously it does kind of change the colors in terms of the look and the feel of it, making it a little bit more soft, a little bit more modern in terms of the feel, but I really enjoyed it. And I think that is, one of the things, it's very easy to look at older patterns and see styles and what is used and go, I don't want to stitch that. But there are some beautiful charts. There are treasures there. And it's just an option to, look at those, take a look and see how even just fairly small changes can change a piece and make it look like something that you would see in a store now and say, yes, I absolutely want to stitch that. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. The fabric was really lovely to work with. It was a very small piece, but just enough size to do this. And then in terms of the finishing, this is just a little piece that I bought at, I think, Michael's. As you may have figured out, Michael's is my go-to spot for a lot of this stuff. I think that they're seasonal displays. They have enough things that come back from year to year, but they also have a lot of things that are just one time and are great for some creative finishing. So this was just a small piece. It had, I think it said like Joy or Noel in the center, and it had a red stripe running down here, which was already starting to peel. And so what I did is I got some gold washi tape and I just replaced the red with gold. I re-glued this in the bottom because it was coming loose. And then I ran just a very thin line of jute around the edge and then did a flat finish with this fabric. I have just one layer of batting there. I chose this fabric because the colors really go quite nicely with it. I knew that it was a very bold print and I was like, well, we'll see. The colors match, so we'll see. I think that maybe they kind of clash a little bit because I feel like in some cases it's drawing your attention. The fabric is drawing your attention away from the stitch, but it kind of depends. Like if you're really close up, you're like, wow, those two things are competing. But if it's further away, I find that you don't notice that as much. And frankly, that's how most people are going to see it on a display. And I really like that it was a quick stitch. It was an easy finish, but I like that it's 3-dimensional and it will give me some height and difference in the display that I have rather than the pillows and some of the other things that I have. So quick piece that I stitched earlier this Christmas season, and then a quick finish that I did over the weekend as well. So that was, the original pattern is Presents by Plaid for Busilla. So that was my little experiment there. And then in terms of pieces that I want to stitch someday, this is another older chart. And this one is by the Trilogy. And I have shown a piece that I finished from them, fully finished from them in the past, but this is one that I have not stitched yet. And it comes with a full kit. It has the linen as well as the, I believe that this is mostly fancy floss that you use. And there are several of these that have different messages, and I really loved this one. I would probably stitch this one. I would do the tree and Yule, and I would put them side by side rather than doing the 3 in a row. But I think that would be another really quick, sweet stitch that would turn into a nice pillow or another display there. So that is Tall Trios Yule by the Trilogy. You want to write over there? Yeah, there you go. So the next thing to show you is, of course, our advent calendar. We are on the last row. We're coming into the home stretch on this. So our piece there is, this is one I've been really looking forward to. This is just a couple of Christmas berries, and I thought that was a really sweet little piece there. So, and you'll notice that we're now below the fold, so I'm having to be a little more careful how I'm holding my fabric, but really pleased with how this is turning out. And tune in starting tomorrow. I'm going to do a little bit of a guessing game in terms of how I actually am planning to finish this. So tune in starting with Wednesday's videos for information on that, leading us into our last video of the season. So that is our advent calendar. And then in terms of the pieces that we are opening together, we of course has our Tom and Lily threads. And let's see, oh, this one is Snow. And it's just it's a white with just a very faint kind of bluish gray in it up here at the top. That is just lovely. I think like many of us, stitching white is not my favorite thing ever, but I have really found a couple of very faint colors like this. I have one from Roxy Floss Co. I have one from Classic Colorworks that I really like that are very faint and give the white just enough color to be kind of interesting and give it some variegation. And so that one is going to be another great one to add to the collection. So that is Neige or Snow. And then this is from the Historical Sampler Company, and I am intrigued because I don't know what's in there. What do you think? What do you think? He's like, All right, so let's see what we got. Aha. We got a packet of Jingle Bells, and they've got snow. Oh, how cute. Christmas sleigh bells, 50s Christmas sleigh bells. How cute. I'm going to have to think about where I'm going to put those because that will be really fun. So that is our advent calendars for the day. And then, as I said, the thing that I wanted to talk about as the extra content for the day is food. Because, I mean, one of the things about the holidays is your family traditions or your traditions on what to eat at those special occasions. And that is very much something that's always on the mind. It's like, what are we going to eat? What's the menu going to be? Who's going to make what? How are we going to get it all done in the number of ovens that we have, or all of those things? And so I just wanted to talk about two of the things that I always look forward to. These are kind of special all occasion things, but they're often gracing our tables at the holidays. Maybe not some things that you normally hear about at a time like this. So I grew up in a mostly vegetarian family. My dad is purely vegetarian. Much of my extended family remains vegetarian. And so I'm an omnivore. I kind of eat everything, but I always know that there are often meals at which the meal will be completely vegetarian. And so these are both vegetarian options. So one of them is something called a special K loaf or cottage cheese loaf. This is the one that I grew up with, and I've kind of perfected the recipe just a little bit as time has gone on to make it exactly the way that I want it, and the ratios are correct, but very traditional kind of loaf. It's something that, it's one of those things that you mix all together and you dump it in a casserole pan and you bake it and it's done and it's perfect. So it is basically Special K cereal. And I would say definitely use Special K. Don't use cornflakes, or particularly store-bought cornflakes. They just don't hold the moisture correctly, and you wind up with like mush. I know of one place that does it with saltine crackers. Ugh. Ugh. Anyway, use your Special K. So you've got Special K, it's got cottage cheese, it's got some cheese, oil, chopped onion, a little bit of seasoning, and you just basically mix it all up and you put it in a casserole dish and you bake it, and 45 minutes later it's all crispy around the edges and it's pillowy and it's soft. Oh, it's so good. I will put the recipes in the description box, and if you're ever looking for something that is quick and easy, and just a comfort food, you should try Special K loaf. And I usually serve it with, mashed potatoes and green beans, like all of the traditional kind of sides when you're thinking about something like that. And then the other one is potato casserole. Now, this one is completely unhealthy. There is nothing redeeming about this other than the satisfaction it gives to your soul to eat it. So that is the warning on this one. But potato casserole is basically a bag of frozen hash browns, the square cut kind. I find that the square cut kind of soak up the flavors and seasonings more than the thin cut. So it's that, it's sour cream, it's a can of condensed mushroom soup, it's butter, it's cornflakes. You actually do use cornflakes in this case. It's like butter soaked cornflakes that go on the top as a crispy streusel. Some onion again, a few other things. So, and then it's another one where you just mix it all up, you dump it in a casserole. This one you bake for 90 minutes, and I will say it starts to smell amazing at about 45 minutes, and you're just like, surely it's done. It's not. It needs the full 45 minutes. So both of these, there is a time in terms of how much to use it, but really is it crispy? Is it starting to pull away from the edges of the dish? Is the top brown? That's what it is. But this one is a full 45 minutes, in part because you're starting with those frozen hash browns. Like, you can speed it up a little bit, but I think it's worth actually doing it the traditional way. So, like I said, there is nothing redeeming about the nutritional value of this one, but it is a giant scoop of comfort and joy, and I would highly recommend it. So I will put both of those recipes down below. If you do try them, I would love to hear about them, because they are absolutely some of my favorite things. I have them throughout the year, but you always know at a special occasion, one, if not both of those, will be there on the table as well, and it is something to look forward to. So with that, I hope that you have a wonderful day, and I will see you all again tomorrow. Bye, everybody.